Hi, everyone. I'm here today with Professor Grimes, and she served as the WBDI president from 1996 to 1998. Welcome, Professor Grimes.
Thanks. Good to be here.
So, one of our first questions is what was it like for you to be a woman band director during your career?
Well, I was never anything but a woman band director, so it's hard for me to reflect like what a man might think. But my high school band director, who was a man, his name was Lynn Jones, and he never told me that women couldn't become band directors. So he did me a great service, and then I didn't grow up thinking that this career was any different than any other. I taught for 47 years full time, and then I've taught for about 3 or 4 years after that part time. And if it wasn't for COVID, I'd still be doing a little bit of teaching, and hopefully I will. But the point of it is that things have changed a lot in 47 years. I did start to notice that I would be the only woman in the meeting, and they would always refer to the group as you guys, or hey guys, what do you think about this? And I often wondered, had they not noticed that I wasn't a guy? But I was very fortunate in the fact that I had a lot of really good supportive people, and I got a great high school band job right out.
Oh, that's great. It's nice you had that wonderful support system all the way through. What was the impetus for you to actually run for president?
Well, I don't know whether you know this or not, but I was a charter member. So I had always been a member of WBDNA and then later WBDI. And I'd served many other roles. I was in many of the inaugural plans, like the scholarship program. And so many of the things that we did, I was on the committees for that. But I had never really thought about being president, although I had been a member for many, many years. And then finally, my past presidents and some of my colleagues said, it's time for you to be president. And they encouraged me. So I said, well, I probably need to step up in this leadership role because it's important that we have really positive leaders because there's so many capable women out there that need to see positive leaders.
I love your reason for doing that. That it's still so important, and the fact that you are a charter member just means even so much more. What was it like for you being president? Could you share maybe some of your accomplishments or challenges or special memories?
A lot of different things. First of all, the thing I'm most proud of is when I became the president, we were still Women Band Directors National Association. And during my presidency, we became Women Band Directors International. Now, this was not all because of me. It was a lot of women working very hard for that. But I also thought it was important that we have a broader scope than just the United States, that we thought about. We had women that all over the world that were directors, and it was really fun to make that change. And so I'm really probably the most proud that that took place. In fact, in my credentials, I will say I was both the president of Women Band Directors National Association and the Women Band Directors International. But that was a wonderful thing to happen, I thought, during my time. I liked the leadership role. I got to help choose the guest speakers, and I was able to get Francis Macbeth one year. And of course, he's now deceased. And he and I became great friends because we did a lot of work together at different clinics. He would always have the top band, and I would always have the bottom band, but that was okay. I'll take the bottom band to Francis Macbeth any day. And Robert Jagger and Tim Lottenheiser, and those people I was able to get as speakers for our luncheon because that was my job to do. As president. So I really enjoy doing things like that. Frustrating things is that the organization, we have great meetings in Chicago, but it's only a small group that comes to Chicago. And then we'd have fabulous summer meetings, but it's only a small group that comes to the summer meetings. So back in the earlier days, it was very hard to coordinate all of that because we didn't have the mass social media that we do now. Like I'm looking at you right now, which is fabulous, and talking face to face, but we didn't have those kinds of things. Um, I'm so proud of our women that were in charge of these last two summer meetings, which have been remote but fabulous meetings and incorporated a lot of people. But we wouldn't have been able to do that back in the beginning. So it was always frustrating keeping keeping everybody working on the things that they volunteered to work for on the summer. So just meeting twice a year. So those were the frustrating things, but I think that we're doing much better at that.
Yeah, and I think COVID, one of the silver linings of COVID has been things like Zoom and the fact that we can do this now and people are comfortable doing it. I'm just curious, do you remember what country the first international member came from?
Well, I believe it was our Canadian partners because we had already done some international meetings. In fact, I don't know if you're aware of all my work in Jamaica, but I've done a lot of work in the school systems in Jamaica, and I was able to actually have a summer meeting in Jamaica, which was really highly attended, and the women got to come in because their school year isn't over until like about the first week of July. So they came down and they got to work in the schools. And so then there were several women band directors down there who became members really early on.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so it would be between that and then also Keith Mann, who is now deceased as well, was a great supporter of women. And so he was at Red Deer in Canada. And so he would actually host a meeting. So we had women that were band directors in Canada. So between Jamaica and Canada, we started picking up members and we just put them in as regular members, but we still called the organization the Women Band Directors National Association, when in fact we had already really become international. But if we were to open it up to women and make that communication possible for women that are all over the world to communicate as part of the same organization was really important to do so.
That is fascinating. This is the third interview I've done, and I feel like we need to write a book because you all have such excellent stories and so much to share. What are some words of wisdom you'd like to share with other women who are band directors who are just starting their careers?
Well, you're in a wonderful, wonderful occupation, first of all. But you have to know your stuff. You have to be prepared with your craft and you have to know it ahead of time. And secondly, I'm sorry, but you have to have a lot of energy because I don't know how you do it without a lot of energy. And third, you have to have great organizational skills because without those, it doesn't matter how well you know your craft. So if you have great energy and great organizational skills and you know your craft and you have a supportive system at home, then being a band director, I think women are natural leaders. They're natural nurturers, um, and I think that. But it's a great occupation. But we have to get past the fact that everybody should be a director or a band director just because they were good in our bands or love music. Because you have to have those other things as well. So I would ask yourself if you're going in. I used to teach a methods class, a pre-student teaching class, and we dealt with just those things how it was important that you had all of those skills going.
Definitely. Um, are there any other things you'd like to include or say to potential members or women who are already members?
I just think that we're a team. And the more you utilize the team, the better off that you are. If you need an idea, there's somebody on that team of Women Band Directors International that can really help you with that idea. Or if you're going on a trip, or how did your trip go? Or tell us the good news, tell us the bad news, tell us the things to watch out for. I find that men have always had a camaraderie that I'm almost jealous of. I mean, guys take care of guys, and I have found that women in the beginning didn't probably take as good care of women because we were fighting so hard to do all of the things we had to do. But I think that when we depend on each other, particularly in an organization like this, when we really work on those positive attributes, that we're all going to be better off.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Professor Grimes. Your input and your answers are just so valuable to all of us, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you.